Request NCIC check on Virginia license 8907. Am keeping vehicle under observation
and proceeding north from Falls Road on MacArthur Boulevard.
Virginia license 89-307 is a hit. This vehicle used by 2 men in an armed robbery. The occupant should be considered armed and dangerous. Roadblock is being set up beyond the Angler's Inn. Acknowledge, please.
10-4. Approaching Angler's Inn.
With your hands up.
This is NCIC in action. Before NCIC, there was no way to identify this out-of-state felony car in seconds. Before NCIC, the fugitives might have escaped with a traffic summons. Before NCIC, arresting officers might have been gunned down while writing that summons. Since NCIC, this story can have a happy ending. What is NCIC? The National Crime Information Center is a computerized system serving all law enforcement agencies, local, state, and federal. The FBI computer and control centers in Washington, D.C. are the heart of that system. They are directly connected with control terminals throughout the country, and the network is growing rapidly. Thousands of messages come in each hour. Many of these are entries, police reports of crimes and criminals to be stored in these rapid access disk storage units, the system's automatic memory. They are available to law enforcement agencies only. Items must have numerical identifiers to be stored in NCIC. File categories include stolen or recovered guns by serial number and make. Stolen articles bearing a serial number with description. Persons for whom warrants have been issued by name and numerical identifiers such as birth date or driver's permit. Stolen cars or license plates by vehicle identification number or license number with year and state of registration. Stolen, embezzled, or missing securities including currency, negotiable stocks and bonds, traveler's checks by type, serial number, and denomination. Stolen or missing boats by registration or hull serial number. Stored entries run into the millions. They are validated at regular intervals by computer-programmed checks with the originating agency. All message traffic, including entries, inquiries, and no record replies, are recorded on a magnetic tape log at the computer center and can be retrieved and printed out at any time. Inquiries reach the computer directly from network terminals. When they match an entry, they are called hits. Hits are printed out to the requesting agency in seconds and monitored at the FBI control center. Hits are the name of the game, the instant information on crime and criminals that the law enforcement officer needs to do his job. NCIC provides this, but it can only be as effective as the people who use and operate the system. It depends upon accurate entries and inquiries, on good communications discipline, and on awareness of what NCIC can do. In 1967, when NCIC first became operational, requirements were established for entry and inquiry formats and other standard procedures. A local police chief used the new system to report the burglary of a sporting goods store in his town. He listed the guns which were stolen by serial number, make, and caliber in accordance with NCIC format for entries. He telephoned this information to the nearest NCIC network terminal. This one was in the office of the county sheriff. From there, it was transmitted by direct wire to the NCIC computer. It was entered into the stolen gun file of the memory bank. These entries stay in the file until the stolen guns are recovered. Several years later, the entry still remains current. Detectives investigating the robbery interview the victim. Stress makes him an unreliable witness. He is unsure of the robber's appearance or the direction of his getaway. He is sure of the wounded hand. The detectives go to the physical evidence at the crime scene. The getaway car has been found abandoned a few blocks away. Blood stains must wait for laboratory examination. Fingerprints, if any, must be lifted, analyzed, and identified. But the serial number of the gun can be checked immediately. One detective calls police headquarters to request an NCIC inquiry. This NCIC terminal is in the communications center of a large metropolitan police department. Other terminals are in state law enforcement headquarters. A few are in county sheriff's offices. Some terminals are computerized. More will be. All are directly connected to the NCIC computer in Washington. One of several compatible telecommunications devices prints out the inquiry on the gun found at the robbery. Serial number, type and make, caliber. In the time that it takes for a detective to finish preserving the gun as evidence, the NCIC computer has searched the gun file, retrieved the stored information, and printed out the reply. It is a hit. The gun was one of those stolen from the sporting goods store years before. The NCIC reply also contained the coded address of the entry originator. Back in the squad room, the detectives make a follow-up contact at once. NCIC provides lead type information. Good police work takes it from there. The police chief gives further details, including name and physical description of a possible suspect who disappeared after the burglary. Now they have enough information to put out a police bulletin on the fugitive robber.
We interrupt our program for the following police announcement. John Wells, white male, approximately 25, about 5 feet 8, brown hair, facial scar, possible gunshot wound, right hand, is wanted for armed robbery. Should be considered armed and dangerous. Do not attempt to apprehend, but call Metropolitan Police 222-1234.
Before NCIC, to trace a gun back to an old burglary in another state would have been difficult, and it might have taken days or weeks. Since NCIC, an inquiry brings immediate identification of the gun. Follow-up information from the originator, as well as evidence at the crime scene, provides the basis for the broadcast police description, which locates the liquor store robber the same day. Result? Swift, safe apprehension of a dangerous fugitive. An NCIC terminal in a state police headquarters gets word of a large currency theft from a suburban bank. The dispatcher transmits an entry to the NCIC computer for the stolen securities file. Information furnished includes the known serial numbers and the denomination, all $100 bills. 6 hours after the theft and 2,000 miles away, the criminal arrives for his plane connection to a foreign country. There's a short wait at the airport. The successful thief feels himself entitled to a drink. The big bill makes the bartender suspicious. He goes out to get change. Before NCIC, that was probably all that the bartender could do. Be suspicious. Local police might not have information on a recent crime in a jurisdiction thousands of miles away, or the serial numbers of the loot. Since NCIC, his call to local police starts an inquiry on its way from network terminal to NCIC computer. Type, series year, serial number, and denomination make search and retrieval from the stolen securities file almost instantaneous. Before the thief has finished his drink or his foreign-bound airplane is called for departure, the bartender gets his answer. It is a hit. The serial number of the bill is one which was entered into the stolen securities file only hours before. Mobility, the criminal's ability to be thousands of miles from the crime scene in hours, has become a major law enforcement problem. Prompt and accurate entries into NCIC can help to solve that problem. From a network terminal, a dispatcher transmits an entry to NCIC for the stolen articles file. Only articles which bear a serial number can be stored and retrieved. They should also be described by type, brand, and model. Happily, the ordinary sneak thief is not often aware of the identifying entry at NCIC, which makes his loot hot. But dealers, especially those handling used or pawned articles of value, are generally informed on NCIC by their local police. They appreciate the system which allows them to quickly check out their suspicions. The dealer's call is relayed from the detective to the NCIC terminal and is on its way. The answer is back before the nervous thief has had more than a few drags. It is a hit. The dealer is instructed to stall until a patrol car can arrive. Before NCIC, the recovery of stolen articles, especially when offered for sale in another area, was an almost hopeless task. Since NCIC, it is still difficult, but for articles which bear serial numbers, not impossible. The NCIC computer has helped to recover many millions of dollars worth of stolen articles and to put many sneak thieves behind bars. Even in beautiful Hawaii, it is a regrettable fact that there are crimes and criminals. The Honolulu Police Department has a computerized NCIC terminal that serves all of our 50th state. The dispatcher transmits an entry to NCIC on a person wanted for a waterfront murder. The only numerical description is the number of his merchant seaman's identification. Other information to be stored includes physical description of the fugitive and the date and issuing agency for the warrant. Space-age technology transmits the message via satellite to the California network terminal, then by direct line to the NCIC computer in Washington. A blowout. a skid off the road. It was a narrow escape for the traveling salesman. And for the hitchhiker, to whom he had given a lift. The driver does need help, and it arrives with the state police, just as the hitchhiker leaves in a hurry. But he doesn't go far. His hasty departure prompts the officer to call him back and ask for some identification. The hitchhiker produces his seaman's papers, certain they can't link him with a crime committed almost halfway around the world. The identifying number on the merchant mariner's document is checked with NCIC files through the State Police Network terminal. Before NCIC, identification documents, especially out-of-the-way ones like the seaman's, could rarely be traced to a crime in another jurisdiction.
Thomas Dodger, no record.
Merchant Seaman, identification number A-20-29-769.
Since NCIC, law officers anywhere can request an NCIC check on any numerical identifier. Have the answers back while they wait to clear the innocent or arrest the guilty. The National Crime Information Center is vital to law enforcement, where information is second only to manpower. The nationwide NCIC communications network makes the computerized information on crime and criminals almost instantly available to the law enforcement officer on the street. This is the man upon whom our fifth freedom, freedom from crime, depends.
There is suspicious activity on loading platform at Clark Warehouse. Request NCIC check on Illinois truck, license 133195 Bravo